us about the conception of Rapalot and when you guys started to really get things rolling.
I met James through this guy named Byron McDonald in 1986, late 1985, early 1986. I'm not sure. It might have been like the spring of 1986. We met James. I remember it wasn't cold. It was a springtime. And they were doing what they did at the time. It wasn't no Rapalot. Byron said, "I know this guy with money. I'm gonna go introduce y'all to him. Y'all can go talk to him." And so I went with Rappin' Lee at the time. Me and Rappin' Lee was the first ones who met James. And he had a brother who rapped, K9, Sir Rapalot. And when I found out he had money and he was willing to do whatever, this and that and this and that, I would go to him every day. I would be in his face every day. What you gonna do? He said, "Why you not at school?" I've been to school. I got on the bus after school and I came over here because, we need to get this done. And so he was like, well, if you go to school, I'm going to make you a record. This is where it came from. See, the thing about the story that a lot of people, like the Unsung and all these motherfuckers who done lied about the story and try to write me out the history, is that if it wasn't for me, and God knows I'm telling the truth, it wouldn't be no Rapalot record. Because, like I said, his brother was already there, K9. He was already there. He could already rap. He already had a little name in the streets for rapping. But James he didn't invest in K9. He didn't invest his money in the music business until me and Raheem showed up. So if Raheem and I never go to Fifth Ward, never meet James, I'll say unequivocally that there would be no Rapalot records. If we don't inspire him and come around and get on his nerves and work him the way we worked him back then, there wouldn't be no Rapalot records.
Yeah.
Because
like
K9
let him
was
know
already
something
there.
could really happen out of that shit. Right.
Exactly. And we was just kids, man. We was 14 and 15 years old. We was just kids, but we loved hip-hop the way I love it now. But we just love the music. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So he was a man of his word. James was a man of his word. He put the first studio up. He bought equipment. Our first producer was Mickey Blue. Y'all might have heard of Mickey. And a guy named Daryl Oliver. The guy named Daryl Oliver and Mickey Blue was our first producers. They produced Car Freaks, and they had produced some more songs that never got done. But that's just where it came from. That's where it was born on Lawless Street. It was born at my partner E.N.C. Trahan house. You know what I'm saying? And the first Rapalot it wasn't no building. It was in the living room. You know what I'm saying? In my homeboy's living room. So
I was about to say, and then where does Ready Red come in all into this equation when y'all was coming in?
Red was,
is that when it really popped off when y'all got Red?
Red was originally a member of the Def 4. He had came down with the Def 4, and Lee had brought him. Rappin' Lee had brought him from the Rhinestone tours, and he had did some tracks, and Jay said, we could use this guy, and that's how he became a member of Geto Boys. After we met him at the Rhinestone, we saw him spinning a little bit, and Red had the juice back then, man. Red had Red.
Shouts out to Red, man. I love that dude, man.
Yeah, Red developed the initial sound that built Rapalot. We didn't know where we were going to get a producer of his caliber from, who knew hip hop the way he did, who knew sampling the way he did, who had the musical archive that Red had. And once again, Red was one of the bricks that built Rapalot, that deserves much more credit than he gets, man. Much more credit than he gets. Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I love Vito and Mike Dean and all the other producers they had over the years, but I'm going to tell you this. There's no other producer on that label that I think could ever touch Red, because he gave, like Max said, that signature sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what. Whenever I think of the Geto Boys, man, I think of those breaks and those scratches and the samples and the, you know what I'm saying? Not just the lyrics that y'all did. I also think of that too. So, you know, shout out to Ready Red. Plus, he influenced so many people.
Yeah, Red was a beast. Red would be up days and days on end, making beats, man, and making sure everything was that the sound was right, that it was raw. He gave it that raw element. A lot of these guys, Mike Dean, Geto, they were around, but Red, like I said, Red was the cornerstone. And I'm not taking nothing from none of those guys. You know, I applaud Mike on the success that he's having right now. He's having phenomenal success. Mike Dean is. He's hooked up with Kanye Click, and he's being blessed in what he's doing. And I'm not sure what Geto's doing right now, but it's a lot of people. You know, a lot of branches. The fruit, you know, they bearing seed. They bearing seed. It's a Rapalot tree, and planted a lot of seeds, and some have grown, and some have died. You know?
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to take this time to say rest in peace to Mr. 3-2.
Exactly.
Huge loss.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was a very big loss. A very big loss to the city. 3-2 meant a lot to hip hop in Houston, and the way he went out was a tragedy. And that just speaks to the way a lot of guys like DJ Screw, Pimp C, 3-2. You know, you have to tell yourself, you have to release yourself of things that are not conducive to life, to bringing life. You know, you can't. I never did drugs in my life. I just never saw the benefit of drug use. You know what I'm saying? I don't smoke marijuana, and I'm not trying to crucify these guys. I'm just saying that for the children, because the influence of drugs and loose sex and promiscuity, that's all hip hop is about today. You know, if you listen to it, if you listen to the music today, there is no one out there other than Kendrick who in the mainstream who is uplifting, picking people up. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of he the only one that I know of, and so that I'm aware of, and I listen to a lot of music. But the influence of drugs and woman abuse and the downgrading of people of all colors, hip hop is not the vessel that it was back then. You know, you got these clowns like Lil Yachty disrespecting everything and everybody, and he can't hold a note with a 2-year-old. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He ain't got a bitch ass thing. But you on mainstream radio, on every big radio station, with this bullshit music.
Yeah.
That they feeding the people, and it's up to guys like you all, to keep hip hop relevant, to keep it strong. You know, because you do what you do.
Appreciate that, man.
It still has life. You feel me?
Yeah,
I appreciate
we just want to
man.
make sure guys like yourself get to tell your story because, you know, like I said in the opening of the show, you're such a huge part of the foundation of the South. You know, you're right there with guys like Brother Marquise and Fresh Kid Ice and, you know, guys that shaped, you know what I'm saying, the whole culture of the South in the rap music industry. I wanted to ask you this, Bob. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I wanted to ask you this. You know what I'm saying? After Making Trouble, you know what I'm saying, what happened with the group? Because Red told us, we had Red on the show not too long ago, that you guys went, I believe it was to Cali for a meeting, for the hip-hop meeting and whatnot. And then you guys came back, and that's when the lineup changed. What occurred at that meeting, and what made you guys change?
We had, before going to California, we had completed what I believe was our best work. That it wasn't influenced. We were given some creative liberties. It was a true hip hop album, and the name of it was Geto Boys Just Made a Jump in the Heights. and it was I believe it was our best work, that it was going to go down if it had been released as one of the Geto Boys' best albums at the time. And so we were introduced to Michael Harris, Harry O. I know you all know who he is. We were introduced to Mike, and James went to. We all went to California, and they had a meeting. And when we came back, the nature of the Geto Boys, the way we did things, James didn't want to. He wanted it to be more gangster.
So basically, after the meeting with Harry O, he wanted to be more gangster.
I don't.
Right.
I heard from a source, I'm not going to say a name, that that James was afraid that Harry was going to try to take the Geto Boys from him, and he wanted to. He took us from California quickly after that initial meeting with Harry. After that, no, it was like maybe it wasn't the initial meeting because we had seen Harry a few times, but after that last or final time with us seeing Harry, we never saw him again. And the lineup and his attitude about after they didn't put out Just Made a Jump in the Hype, it discouraged a lot of us. It discouraged Johnny, so he wanted to go solo. Raheem had already gone solo on his own, and so me and Red was the last man standing. And they brought in Willie-D. Bill was still around; he was just dancing still at the time, and we had brought in Scarface, and we were at James' ranch. He had a ranch in Prairie View right outside of Houston. He had a studio at the ranch, and we were working on new music. We had just finished, like the same time we were doing the Just Made a Jump in the Hype album, Willie-D was doing his Controversy album. If you listen to Willie-D's Controversy album, the original cut, I'm on a couple of the songs. But when they redid it, they took me off the songs, and Bill is on the songs. But if you listen to the original, I'm on the songs. So when we went to the ranch, it had came some kind of way that they were trying to get Willie-D to write for me. Now, looking at this thing in retrospect and in hindsight, one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life was I walked away from Geto Boys. I say that because I walked away from this thing that I started as a kid. I walked away from it because I felt like at the time it was being taken from me. I think about if I had not walked away from Geto Boys, maybe I wouldn't have spent 14 years of my life in prison. Because shortly after I left the Geto Boys in 1989, no less than a year later, I had caught a murder case and went to the penitentiary. This is just me being brutally honest. If I don't walk away from the Geto Boys, maybe I don't go to prison. Maybe my children are in a better position than I would ever have been in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I walked away from it because I didn't agree with. I'm an MC. I've always been an MC. They were trying to get Willie-D to write for me, and I disagreed with this vehemently. And I told James at the time at his house, we had did a few songs. We had did the Talking Loud, Saying Nothing. We had did a few of the songs on that Geto Boy album. We had did them already. And I was like, hey, man, this ain't in my heart no more. I ain't feeling this. And he was like, I really disappointed him. Because, like I said, I was there first. And I believe he wanted me to be there always because I was there first. And I walked away from it because I wasn't finna let nobody else write for me. I felt like it was disrespectful to the craft.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like they was having Willie-D write for you so you couldn't own the publishing on what you was writing, or was they just having him write because they wanted to have you sound different than what you really was?
Who other than James, who owns it?
Yeah.
Other than James, who owns it? So I can't make that argument. We didn't understand the magnitude of that back then, of the ownership. I didn't. I'm gonna say I didn't. I didn't understand.
So you could have been on Gripping on that other level. You were very close to being a part of that album.
Yes.
Would it have still consisted of Bushwick? And do you think they put Bushwick in there because you left, or how would
I know
it
they
been?
did. I know they did. The Geto Boys would have been me, Scarface, and Willie-D.
Yeah.
I walked away from that. I walked away
too.
from that. I walked away from that. Red was still the DJ. Red will tell you the same thing.
Yeah, I think Red did tell us that.
Yeah.
He did tell us that.
Boys, the Geto Boys would have been me, Scarface, and Willie-D. Bill would have still been dancing. Bill didn't start rapping.
Yep, that's what he told us.
Until I left.
I think Red did tell us that, Prayer. Maybe he didn't say it on the show, but I think he did tell me that before. Like, that's what the lineup would have been.
It would have been me, Brad, and Willie. And like I said, it was one of the hardest.
That would have been a cold-ass lineup, too. With Bill, though, too. All four of y'all. They could let all four of y'all rock that shit.
That I ever made in my life, I walked away from the Geto Boys. And I have regret. I don't have a lot of regrets, and I have regrets about that. Because these guys were my friends. You know, James was my friend. James was my friend. Red was my friend. Willie-D, Bushwick, Brad. These guys were my friends. But it had started becoming more of a business and less of a friendship. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't know, because I felt like back then, and I still feel like it today, that I got 16 bars for anybody on the planet. you know, that's just the
I feel you too, man.
That's just the
I'll be the same way.
So,
and I never released music, but I still eat these young motherfuckers up, man. Like if they really want it on some rap shit.
If you want it, you can get it. You know, you definitely can get it. So I wasn't comfortable with nobody writing for me, and so I walked away from that. And
especially at that time, because it was all about an MC honing his own skills, and you were already established. Why would you need a writer? You know what I mean?
If you ask Raheem or anybody at the time, Raheem don't get the credit he deserved in Houston for what he brought.
Raheem cold too. Right.
I can hold my own against anybody.